There's a quiet truth that most people don't want to admit, not because it's hidden, but because it's uncomfortable. And the truth is this: awareness without action is a trap. Not a stepping stone, not progress, not transformation, a trap. Segment 1: The Illusion of Growth. On this stage of life, there are people who are asleep, and there are people who are aware. And then there are people who believe they are growing, but are actually standing still, because they become aware, but they have not moved. They can tell you their patterns, they can explain their trauma, they can articulate their wounds with precision. They've read the books, listened to the podcasts, taken the courses. They know. Oh, they know. But their life does not reflect that knowing. And that's where the trap begins. Because awareness feels like progress. It feels like movement. It feels like you're doing something. When in reality, you're just seeing more clearly why you're not moving. Segment 2: Awareness as a Comfort Zone. Let's go deeper. Awareness can actually become a very sophisticated form of comfort. Because once you understand something, you no longer feel lost. And feeling not lost can trick you into believing you're on the path. But understanding the path is not the same as walking it. You can stand at the edge of transformation and describe it beautifully without ever stepping into it. And many people do. Not because they're incapable, but because action requires something awareness does not: risk. Segment 3: Why we don't act. Action requires you to be seen differently, leave behind familiar patterns, step into uncertainty, face failure, outgrow your current identity. Awareness is safe. Action is not. And so the mind says, let me just understand it a little more first. Let me process this more deeply. Let me get clearer. But that clarity never becomes enough, because the real resistance was never about understanding. It was about movement. Segment 4: The Identity Loop. Here's where it gets even more subtle. When you stay in awareness without action, you begin to build an identity around being aware. You become the one who knows, the one who understands, the one who sees deeply, and that identity feels powerful, but it's incomplete. Because the next level of identity is not the one who knows, it's the one who embodies. And embodiment requires proof, not thoughts, not insights, not realizations, behavior. Segment 5: The Cost of Staying Aware but Inactive. Let's speak truthfully. There is a cost to staying here, and it's heavier than most people realize. Because when you know what to do and you don't do it, you begin to create internal friction, a quiet tension, a subtle erosion of self-trust. Because your inner voice says, we're ready, and your actions say, not yet. Over time, that gap widens, and that gap becomes suffering, not because you don't know the way, but because you refuse to walk it. Segment 6: The Shift from Knowing to Doing. So what is the shift? It's not more awareness. You don't need another realization. You don't need another breakthrough. You need a decision. A simple, grounded, honest decision. I move now. Not perfectly, not completely, not fearlessly, just now. Because action doesn't require certainty, it requires willingness. And the moment you move, something changes. Not just externally, but internally. Because now you're no longer someone who knows, you're someone who acts. Segment 7, your invitation. So here's your invitation right here, right now. Ask yourself, what do I already know that I am not acting on? Not what you're still figuring out, not what you're unsure about, what you already know. And then take one step, just one. Send the message, make the call, start the practice, set the boundary, create the thing. One step, because that step breaks the trap. On this stage of life, awareness is the opening, but action is the becoming. And you were never meant to just see your life clearly. You were meant to live it fully. So if you can see it now, then the question is no longer, do I understand? The question is, will I move? This is the vibrational stage.